Hi, welcome. I'm looking forward to talking with you again for another week. I'm just giving you a brief overview for week 3. Remember that we're using the term mistaken behavior. We're trying to figure out what that behavior might be telling us rather than a misbehavior that kind of indicates that the child's purposefully just trying to do something wrong, right? We're going to use very specific tools like MTSS, which we started using last week, that multi-tiered systems of support to support those with mistaken behavior. The more we can work as teams, and that's what you're going to work on this week for MTSS, come back together, take turns playing the role of teacher, and then you're going to be the co-teachers in that team, in that MTSS team, brainstorming all together and coming up with a team decision of what to try next. We know that we want to have very consistent supports for expectations. So being very clear, practicing our rules at the very beginning and then every day, and just being very clear and consistent in our guidance is going to be huge. And then last, we're going to talk for a moment about why. So let's say I figure out, wow, this student does better um, if I give them a sticker chart or we check in the middle of the day to make notes about how he or she's doing. We have to ask ourselves, why was that behavior there then? Was it something that they were needing? Were they missing? Were they needing more of a check-in for some clarity? Did they need more affection from me? So we want to always be thinking about why we're seeing those behaviors, even if we figure out how to correct the behavior and get it going more smoothly again. So what you're going to do this week, you're going to get into small groups, and within each of your small groups, you should be looking at all 3 cases, hopefully, and you're going to take turns being the teacher and bringing that case forward. So talking about the strengths, the struggles, things you've already tried. Give time to brainstorm and just talk about it on your own before going to that website, but then you can go to sites like pbisworld.com like you did last week to come up with potential next steps. That should be a team decision. What's going to happen is we'll keep going as if this was a real student or these were real students, and we'll talk about how it's going in a couple weeks again. I'll give updates on how those students are doing. The other thing you're going to do this week, remember when it comes to guidance, showing them very specifically what to expect each day makes a huge difference. We talked about the importance of transitions, the importance of, we want to know as teenagers or adults what's coming up next. I promise, especially if I'm 2 or 3 or 5, there's not a lot I can control, but I'm going to feel much better about my day. And I'm usually going to have an easier time with my behavior when I know what's coming up next. So, this is where we do picture schedules. These are not the perfect examples by any means. I just pulled them offline. What I would like you to do is create 8 to 12 slides. If possible, use clear tape or laminate so you can actually bring it with you. This is the type of thing if you were volunteering or if you were subbing in a class that you could bring with you. Think of more realistic pictures or draw them out yourself in terms of recess, literacy, nap time, all of those. I'm not, as far as the pictures on the left, I'm less of a support of these. We want to make the pictures as clear as possible. I have no idea what ketchup and pickle time is, by the way, but try to find more realistic photos whenever possible or draw them to be more clear. When you're going through this, you can see on the example on the right, they're doing a little more of this. We know that the younger the kids are, the more overwhelmed they're going to be, and it's too hard for them to keep track of all of these different transitions. I would just start with the morning and then take that away, say at nap time, and then do the afternoon. You just want maybe 3 to 6, not all of them up at once. And as you're going about the day, it looks like they're using a clip here. I would take them down or use an arrow and make sure that you're moving it. One of the big problems is that a lot of schools either don't use these or they just use words, which of course doesn't help the children yet that aren't reading, or they don't keep track. And so it's not even accurate. So everyone knows not to look at it. So you want to really get into this habit, and it's a great way to set the expectations for the day and to help calm anxiety and nerves for kids as well because they know what's coming up. A little bit of the readings talks about levels of mistaken behavior. So the first level we might see, it's more of an experimentation. It's curiosity. I wonder what would happen if I threw this or if I did that. It's about exploring. So we want to, as a general rule, as the teacher in that case, just avoid overreacting and try to move them toward other options. So if they are throwing food, perhaps we redirect them to an area where they can throw something that is supposed to be thrown, or just redirect into some other areas. Level 2, it's more socially influenced. So they're wanting to be connected with and popular maybe with their peers. They might want to be, you might notice that they're copying things. It could be their parents, their family members, superheroes. Sometimes the superhero behavior can get kids in trouble, right? They're trying to be wrestlers or superheroes and they end up hurting. So reinforcing those limits and teaching alternative behaviors again. But then last, level 3, sometimes it's a matter of survival. So is there a strong unmet need? Is this child getting their needs met at home for love, for shelter, for safety? We want to really focus on maybe there's something else happening for them as well. And so the one of the questions we have to ask is, right, what is the purpose behind the behavior? And what's the reason? Because if it's a survival reason, I'm going to need to make sure that I'm meeting those big unmet needs. I'm going to want to really build our relationship and just start calming those needs by letting them know that they're safe and secure with me. And then last, think about the motivators. There's other things we could look at as well. But even for us, okay, if you're, let's say, having trouble getting assignments in on time, or if maybe there's another person or there's a little brother or sister that keeps acting up at dinner time, we need to ask why, right? What's their motivation? So there's always a motivation. Is it that they're trying to escape something? Maybe they really, really dislike something or they're afraid of something, so they're trying to get away from it. Is it for attention? And that's not a bad thing. We all need attention, and certainly little ones need attention. So it could be that. Sensory. So maybe they're getting over or understimulated. I know you discussed this in class already, but is it overwhelming? Is there just too much stuff happening? Is it too loud? Is there too many things hanging all over the room? Or is it tangible? Maybe they need, that food or a specific reward or something that they're actually, right? They want to get a particular toy and that's why they pushed or hit. So we want to think, are they trying to escape something, get attention, maybe get less or more sensory stimulation? Or is it something tangible that they want and that's their way to get it? So that is my quick overview for this week. I look forward to grading your work from last week and spending another week together. Take care. Bye bye.